Gifted students. Gifted students are students who have high achievement capability in specific academic fields. These can be in math, science, history, English, really anything. And these students, though they may be really high and often stigmatized, they need services or different activities that aren't normally provided by a school in order for them to fully develop intellectually and emotionally. So a lot of them, they have this whole socio-emotional problems going on. Oftentimes, gifted students are perfectionists. They are placed under these high standards, which cause such a constant pursuit of perfect work. So an example of this would be teachers or parents often hold these students to these really high standards because they think that even though they're only gifted in one area of learning, they can excel in all areas. So they set up these high goals that are often not achievable. So in order to help prevent this, what we need to, as educators, is provide achievable goals that are also personal for the students. So the students must be able to reach these goals. They still have to be able to push their development in order for them to grow, but it has to be achievable. Another problem is that they're gifted in only certain areas. It's often stereotyped that they are gifted in many areas. Everybody thinks that these gifted students are good at everything, but they're often only gifted in one or two areas. So an example of this would be a student who's gifted in math, but isn't so well in English, or vice versa. You can have a kindergartner who can read at like 5th grade level, but his math level is still really low or average. They need to be assessed for their gift of whatever they are gifted in, and an educator must understand what their strengths and weaknesses are so you can help integrate them properly into different classes and ultimately improve their development. So a problem that they also have is that a gifted person is also profoundly sensitive to very small differences. So they need consistency and can become fixated on small problems or small differences. So in a classroom, it's very important to make sure that it's very fixed and very consistent so these students do not get hung up on these small differences. A problem that gifted students have is what's called asynchronous development. This is a term that is used to describe how a student's physical, intellectual, and emotional develop are all at different levels and mature at different rates. So, in essence, the greater the intellect is, the greater the gap in this development. So if you have a first grader who's reading at a 5th grade level, his emotional level may still be at 1st grade level. This can cause problems because oftentimes they can be shown, or they could read or anything of something that they might not be able to handle emotionally. It also goes with physical problems as well. So if somebody is developing higher mentally, they may not be physically able to handle it, or if they're physically advanced, they may not be so they may not be able to possibly understand their emotional feelings or be able to handle all the emotions that come with doing something when they're gifted physically as well. It is important as an educator to understand where their intellectual level is in comparison to their emotional level. This way we can help balance them out and help understand where the student's coming from and be there as support to help the students develop. Another problem with asynchronous development and gifted students is what's called twice exceptional students. A student that is gifted but also has a disability. So an example of this would be a student who may be able to write down any of their thoughts, but orally is unable to express anything, or it could be vice versa. These are often gone unnoticed because an educator typically views these disabilities and is focused on these disabilities and doesn't quite allow for the student to grow on their giftedness. It is important as an educator to know that you need to be aware of these gifts that these students have. So if they're disabled and they are gifted, so they're twice exceptional, you need to make sure that you can also help develop their gifts and work with them so you can also propel their education more, so you can help develop their education at a higher demand. In conclusion, gifted students can be exceptional. They can have outstanding skills in any subject area, but it's sad that they are often stigmatized. It is often believed that they are great at everything or that they're smart at everything when that might not be the case. And this can cause many emotional problems and intellectual problems as well, because it causes them to not do as well in their development. So we need to make sure that we give them proper support emotionally and intellectually to properly develop as students and help them along in their life. Thank you.